reading of the budget, of the national budget, and there are so many interesting things in the budget. And one of it was that we were able to finance our budget by about 60.2%. Your Excellency, was this a result of the successful sale of the Eurobond? And the Eurobond, I think when they put it on the market, they wanted $400 million, but I think it had offers of about close to 10 times that. So if this was a result of the Eurobond, why there are so many offers for the Eurobond? Why did you take more money so that from the Eurobond so that you can finance more developing projects? And if this self-sustaining, if everything remains constant, when will we be able to sustain ourselves instead of depending on donor funds? Thank you, sir.
I think the Eurobond will have contributed, but it can't be entirely dependent on the Eurobond. There have been other efforts. The economy has also been growing, as you are aware, for a number of years. So Eurobond contributed maybe a small percentage. But more importantly, something you've also said, being self-reliant is a journey. And if it was just a matter of what you wish and it happens, then it should have happened long ago. But the fact of the matter is that it is a journey, and our economy has been growing. We've been working very hard to be able to collect enough internal revenues to finance activities, national activities in the national budget. The fact that last year we met the needs from our national budget, less, close to 10%, now means we have covered a gap of close to 10%. Shows you that kind of movement. Before that, it was less. Before that, it was less. So it's a journey, and we are on a good pace as far as this journey is concerned. Now, on the point of why we would not go, everything needs some kind of balance. The Eurobond's success also was built on and is a reflection of our government's prudence and the fact that it applies rationale to many things, and that builds confidence even in the financial markets. The financial markets responded the way they did to this issue of a sovereign bond because of that confidence. They saw Rwanda as a well-managed country, and the government, and so even within that issue there was an element of the reading that Rwanda was seeking at this time something it could afford to deal with, to manage. Much as we are driven by a lot of ambition, we are also very realistic people. We don't just go for anything without thinking. We go for what? It's like you chew what you can swallow. You don't want to overburden yourself. So it's really one thing feeds the other in a sense. So that's why you couldn't go looking for 1 billion, maybe next time, maybe another time, maybe 5 years down the road we would go do that. So every time we go for what we need to go for, and something that is not going to put us out of balance in whatever area.
Thank you. My name is Eugene Anangwe from TV10. Talking of ambition, we are with barely only 1 year to go to the deadline for the Millennium Development Goals. Rwanda has done a bit more on certain areas. So the quick question that I have is, have we been too ambitious? Do we believe that we're going to meet all the MDGs by 2015?
Most of them will be met, and as you also know, well, which is going to be part of the proof that being ambitious is not very bad, is that we are actually among the very few, or at the top, who will be where we will be come 2015. So even with all the kinds of challenges that you know, and with all the, and then the ambition, as you said, the drive has been there, and it is what has taken us to be at the level where we are, that significantly stands out when you look at the countries that are within this category the category that is being looked at in reference to how they meet the Millennium Development Goals come 2015. So we are ahead of many, and among those who have performed well. So I think we may not meet all of them, or all of them adequately as we should, but most of them will be met, as I know, and so far looking at where we stand. So that's it.
Akoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, Asumani niyo nambaza mu kinyamakuru Rugari, nagira ngo ntange igitekerezo muri kiganiro ko
go to the point, mujye mukora nka business life. Let's go to the point.
Ngewe nsanga yaro ntange igitekerezo cyo kongera imbaraga mu gukora ku baturage, cyane cyane mu migi igeze kubaho gahunda yo gukora amasaha 24 kuri 24, ugasanga inzego nta mbaraga zirimo kubishyiramo. Ntekereza ko ibi bintu bikwiye gushyirwa imbaraga, abayobozi batabishoboye nkuko mwabigarutse ejo muri Musanze, bakajya ku ruhande, hakajyaho ababishoboye, ariko abaturage igihugu cyacu kikavansa kikatera imbere cyane, ariko nanone itangazamakuru ritabigizemo uruhare byagorana. Nayo mpamvu nagira mu mboneraho aka kanya ko kubabwira nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika ko birakwiye ko itangazamakuru ryacu riterwa ingabo mu bitugu kugira ngo tubone imbaraga zo kubafasha ishyirwa mu bikorwa ry'izi gahunda zanyu zo guteza imbere u Rwanda n'Abanyarwanda. Ndabashimiye.
Ibyo uvuga nibyo ku buryo bumwe, ibindi kubireba neza. Igitekerezo ndagishyigikiye. Iyo bigeze mu bikorwa niho ibintu bimwe bisanga hari ibintu bigomba kugendera ku ntambwe yabyo. Nyine iyo uvuga abantu bafite cyangwa badafite ubushobozi, ubwo ibyo nibyo bitanga intambwe abantu bagenderaho. Ikibazo tugifite rero mu Rwanda nyine nabyo bijyana n'ukuntu tukomeza kugenda twiyubaka, ari nayo ntego. Abantu benshi bashoboye mu by'ukuri ntabwo dufite. Ni nayo mpamvu akenshi cyangwa henshi utagenda ubona uko uhindura abantu biturikije kuko badashoboye, kuko ntabwo ari ikibazo cyo guhindura gusa, ni ikibazo cyo gushaka ko niba uhinduye uhindura uganisha ku ntambwe yiyongereye kurusha ko uhindura ukazana ikimeze nk'icyo wari uhinduye. Ubundi niyo principle, nicyo kigendererwa. Urebye muri rusange ariko nabwo wasangamo ko hari intambwe maze gutera kuko nawe niba ubyibuka neza uko ibintu byari bimeze imyaka 10 ishize siko bimeze ubu uko byari bimeze imyaka 5 ishize ntabwo ariko bimeze bigenda biyongera wenda nyine intambwe ishobora kuba ari ntoya cyangwa se bitihuta cyane nkuko uko tubyifuza bikwiriye kuba bimeze ariko iyo ntambwe irahari ni ibintu rero byinshi bijyanira igihe kimwe hari ugukomeza kubaka ubushobozi kandi bukubakwa mu bantu benshi bitari abantu bake gusa icya kabiri na za gahunda uko ziba zinoze n'iki zitutse kuri abo ngabo bitari umubare gusa no kunozwa kw'imirimo uko kugenda byiyongera naho nyine ibyo uvuga abanyamakuru nabo ni ishami rikwiriye kuba rifasha abanyarwanda kumva kumenya icyifuzo no kumenya uko ibintu bikwiye gukorwa kugira ngo igihugu gitere imbere ibyo rero kugira ngo itangazamakuru ritere imbere ni biva ku mpande ebyiri uruhare rwa mbere n'urw'abanyamakuru bwabo hari icyo umuntu yakora gufasha ariko hari icyo atabakorera no kuzuzanya abanyamakuru bwabo bagomba kugira uruhare rwabo mu kwiteza imbere no mu myumvire no mu mikorere no mu kuganisha mu cyerekezo gikwiye inzego z'igihugu inzego za leta nazo aho zishobora kunganira mu kubaka ubwo bushobozi cyangwa gutera inkunga kugira ngo ubushobozi buboneke nabyo bikwiriye kuba bikorwa bikuzanya rero ntabwo ari umwe wakora kimwe ikindi kitabonetse intambwe nanone iba ntoya cyane.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika nitwa Jean Lambert Gatare ndi ho muri radio Isango Star. Nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika ijambo Perezida Kikwete aherutse kuvuga ryashotse cyangwa ryashokinze abanyarwanda benshi ndashaka kuvuga bashyira mu gaciro ntabwo mwashatse kugira byinshi mu bivugaho kuko rimwe na rimwe ari gihe kwicecekera bigisubizo cyiza kurusha amagambo ariko nibaza umuntu nka Perezida Kikwete turi kumwe mu miryango nka East African Community uri supposed kuba azi ukuri muri aka karere akavuga ibintu nka biriya nibaza niba muri uyu muryango watabamo urwikeko cyangwa se kuryaryana cyangwa gucengana hari n'abavuga yuko biriya yavuze bishobora kuba ari ibitekerezo bya bamwe mu bihugu by'ibihangange byumvikaniye muri Perezida Kikwete ibyo bintu bitekerezaho iki
ibyavuzwe turi mu nama ya African Union turadisi bikavugana n'umuyobozi wo muri aka karere niwe nabyitirira kurusha ko nabyitirira abandi ntabwo najya gutekereza abandi baba baramukoresheje cyangwa icyo ngendera ku cyo ndeba numva kugeza n'ubu nta nicyo ndabona kigaragaza ko hari ahandi byaba byaraturutse usibye kuri nyirabyo icyo ni kimwe icya kabiri ni kuko nubwo ntagize icyo mvuga n'ubu ntabwo ndavuga byinshi nk'uko nabyifuje ariko ubwo bizagira umunsi wabyo buriya ikintu cyose kigira igihe cyacyo bizagira umunsi ubwo tugira icyo bivugana kandi tukabivugira aho bikwiriye kuba bivugirwa tunabibwirana n'ukwiriye kuba byumva ari we nyiri ukuvuga ibyo yavuze buriya bizagira igihe cyabyo icyo ushaka kwemeranyaho icyo ni ikibazo kinini cyane imvugo nk'iriya muri aka karere kacu cyangwa kurebana tuzi n'amateka yabyo bifite uburemere kuko kuko bushobora no kugira n'ingaruka nyine gusubiza inyuma intambwe tumaze gutera y'amahoro. Icyo nshaka kuvuga ni iki, sinzi abanyamakuru wenda niba mukurikirana bihagije, yewe icyanantangaje n'ubu ntarabona n'umuntu unakivuga cyangwa iki, ariko ibyumweru bike mbere y'uko avuga biriya byo kuvugana izi nterahamwe, niba mukurikirana hari umuntu muri Tanzania wanditse ikintu, umuntu witwa ngo niba ari Mutikira cyangwa something like that. Mwibuke ibintu yanditse uko bimeze, bisomye ni ibintu bijyana ni extreme ideology ya genocide, urwango ruri muri ibyo bintu yanditse. Njye nari nkiraho nibaza ariko se umuntu wandika nka biriya bigasomwa bikajya mu gihugu, igihugu ntikigire icyo kibivugaho, ntikimuhagarike, ntikimubaze, ariko ubwo rimwe nkashaka kwisubiza nkibwira ngo ni bya bindi byanyu mwita ngo ni free speech, ariko bisomye abatarabisoma muzagishake mu gisome. Icyo kintu umuntu yanditse rwose kijyanye na genocide ideology, kivuga abantu, kirimo urwango, kirimo ndetse kibikwiza mu karere ukuntu abantu ari abantu babi, bajya muri bya bindi bisanzwe bya kera bya hano tuzi bya genocide, bivuga abantu ko ari inzoka, ko ari inyenzi, ko bakwiriye badakwiriye kubaho. Muzagishake mu gisome, kibereye mu gihugu runaka. Nyuma y'iminsi cyangwa ibyumweru umuyobozi w'igihugu avuze ikintu ubona asa nibajije niba bidafitanye isano. Biramutse bifitanye isano rero urumva uburemere navugaga, umuntu kuvuga nk'icyo ngicyo biba bifite. Ntabwo nzi niba abantu rimwe na rimwe abayobozi bumva ingaruka z'ibyo bavuga cyangwa ibyo bakora, ariko zo ziba zihari, waba ubyumva waba utabyumva. Ariko ndibwira ko atari cyo twifuza, ndibwira ko ari igihugu cy'u Rwanda, ari cya Tanzania, ari akarere, twese twifuza amahoro. Twifuza amahoro, ntabwo twifuza amahoro, turifuza amajyambere, ibindi na politike ziba ziriho n'izo gushyigikira ibyo ngibyo, ntabwo nibwira ko ari zo gutera ibindi bibazo.
Nitwa Theodore Ntarindwa, ikinyamakuru Umwezi. Mu by'ukuri nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, ubu mu gihugu harimo umwuka w'inkubiri y'amashyaka. Tuzi ko twumvise ko hakubaye dekararasiyo y'abantu bo hanze bazaza ku itariki 20 z'ukwa gatandatu uyu mwaka, ndetse iyo tubakurikiranye tugasoma ibyo bavuga ndetse tukavugana n'abana nabo, bafite target cyane yo kugira ngo baratagetinga cyane urubyiruko rwacu, kugira ngo baze ari rwo bakoresha ndetse nabo mu burezi. Tukaba twibaza ese ingamba nizi ubu urubyiruko rurimo kwigishwa ruti, cyane cyane ko amateka iyo nk'iki kintu kibaye gituma abantu basubira inyuma bakajya kureba no mu mateka bakareba uko byagiye.
Urubyiruko singurwo rurakubwira.
Nagira ngo rero nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, amateka twereka ko ibi ngibi ngira ngo na mbere gato ya za 1994 byarabaye, aho urubyiruko rwakoreshwe mu bintu bibi binyuranye kandi rukoreshwa n'abanyapolitike ba. Ntago nzi agenda yabo, singiye kubashinja, ariko agenda yabo iyo ugiye kubireba n'iyo usoma ibyo bakora, cyane cyane baza bavuga bati twebwe tuzanakoresha na metode yakoreshwe mu bihugu birabyo mu Barabu, aho abaturage bagumuka bagakoraho ubutegetsi. Ingamba nizihe? Ariko nyiraho nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, nk'umuntu uhagarara itangazamakuru ryigenga mu Rwanda, nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika, mwadutoje kujya twiha agaciro. Buryo muvugira abanyarwanda mukanavuga n'ibintu bikomeye, muba mwiha agaciro muha n'agaciro abanyarwanda ariko itangazamakuru nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika ryigenga mu Rwanda rifite ibibazo byinshi murabizi abadushinzwe baratuvugira ariko byagera muri kabineti tukagira ngo mutubwire aho bipfira kuko biratangaje kumva ko igihugu kigira akabazo gatoya ka budget bati mukate itangazamakuru wagira utyo wagira haba ikibazo cyose bati itangazamakuru ese mubona tuzakora dutinya kwa perezida
itangazamakuru icyo ari cyo kibazo ryari rifite cyonyine ntabwo twaba dufite ibibazo byinshi ariko murasa nkaho ikibazo kiri mu itangazamakuru cyose uko giteye ari aho gikomoka ntabwo nibwira ko ari byo muzisuzume murebe wenda reka mbigire na binini 50% n'itangazamakuru bwabyo 50% ni leta umva nagabanyije responsibility sinzi kuri 50% yanyu aho mugeze mutari nko ku 10 cyangwa 15 gusa ubwo na leta niba igeze kuri 20 ubwo dufite 30 cyangwa 35%. So urumva sinibwira ko ikibazo rero uko kimeze twese dukwiriye gutera intambwe kuko ntabwo twaguma ahantu hamwe ariko icyo navuga niba ngira ngo ubikurikirana neza ntabwo nibwira ko leta ikikora ari ukukandamiza itangazamakuru gusa hari n'ibyo igerageza gukora ngira ngo muri uko kubaha urwo ruhare rwanyu rubaha ahubwo hari ubwo mutarukoresha uko bikwiye ariko ku ruhande rwa leta icyo rwakunganira ndumva nasezeranya ko tuzagerageza gukora icyo dushoboye ntibikomeze kuba uko gukata gusa ariko n'ahandi harakatwa itangazamakuru mbibona birasa n'iby'imikino nayo tugira nk'umupira w'amaguru w'u Rwanda barabigira bityo bashobora kujyaho bakabeshya rero ngo babuze inkunga niko banabivuga ariko bavuga ko ariko ubwabo ni indwara birwariye bakajya kuyihimbira abandi so muzitonde murebe neza gukemura ibibazo ni byiza ko ubanza ukiheraho noneho ukaza kugera ku kibazo cy'undi yaba gutera hanyuma ariko wabanje kwihera ku cyo waba witera ubwawe ukareba uko wagikemura bye ndumva ni nk'ihame nshaka kuvuga gusa ko dukwiriye kuba twakoresha ariko noneho tukajya mu bikorwa bikaba byashoboka naho ibindi byose ndumva iyo abantu bafite ubushake bafite intego buriya ibikoresho cyangwa uburyo buraboneka ntabwo uburyo bukunda kuba ikibazo haba ikibazo ibitekerezo n'imikorere n'abo bandi bashaka kuza icya mbere navuga ni uburenganzira bwabo ukwiriye kuza imigambi iyo bazaba bafite iyo ari yo yose icyo ni ikindi kibazo ibyo tuzabikemurira hano ariko byo kwibwira ko uko byakorwaga imyaka 20 ishize ukuntu bakanguriraga urubyiruko kwica kwambura guhemuka cya gihe si cy'ubu ngubu nta nubwo ingamba navuga ngo nizifashwe uyu munsi cyangwa nizafatwe ejo ingamba zo zafashwe kera uko twubatse igihugu n'inzego z'igihugu birahari hari ibintu uko bigomba gukorwa hari umuco twubatse wa politiki hari amajyambere tumaze n'intambwe tumaze gutera kubihungabanya byagora uwabigerageza so n'urwo rubyiruko nyine kugira ngo twagerageje kurwubaka urubyiruko nge mvuga rero nta nubwo ari babandi gusa bariya bakoreshejwe ndavuga duhera hasi urubyiruko guhera hasi abana uburere bwabo tubahari twifuza ko babona dukangurira n'ababyeyi kubaha bari mu mago noneho nubwo tubaha bari mu mashuri kuzamuka kugera aho bageze nk'urubyiruko ubu nibwira kuko bubatse n'imitekerereze yabo bitandukanye n'urwo rubyiruko rw'icyo gihe uko rwakoreshejwe kwibwira rero ko wakora ibintu hano n'urwo rubyiruko nk'uko byagenze ahandi buri hantu hagira uko imiterere yaho kuko hatandukanye ntabwo uko u Rwanda ruteye ubu ngubu ariko ibyo bihugu byabayemo ibyo ngibyo byari biteye ntabwo rero uzaza ni uburenganzira bwe ariko azaza asanga igihugu cyubatse ukuntu kidashobora guhungabanywa kandi n'ubigerageje nawe tuzamushyira mu buryo.
Albert Rudatsimburga from Contact FM. Mr. President, last year Rwanda went through a lot of highs and lows with the UN and with the group of experts. Steve Hague was the chairman of the group of experts, and we know what his point of view was on Rwanda. His contract was not extended, and he was replaced by some other people.
By another Hague.
Another Hague. And now, in this latest development, you have Mary Robinson in charge of monitoring and mapping and a roadmap on the framework. And there is another Hague inside the system. I mean, is this always going to be replicated like that? And I mean, what's your take on that? Also being inside the UN now in the Security Council.
Well, I guess given what we know about how the world operates, maybe it is going to keep happening like that. But given the nature of our country and our desire and the determination to continue being who we are and to develop ourselves, I think I can only speak from that side that we are also determined to keep surviving it and continuing to make progress. I can speak for my side, I can't speak for the side of the UN. I have no, even with our presence at the UN Security Council, as you said, we are there, we can speak out, we can speak up loudly for anyone to hear what we think is right, how we think we are affected or others are affected by any development, and can give a proposal and as to the way forward or solutions. I'm sure some of the views are upheld, they are listened to, maybe they contribute to a solution, maybe others are ignored, or, you know, so that's how it happens. But overall, it's a good thing. Maybe out of 10 ideas, you have 1 or 2 contributed to. In this world, that's a very good thing. So I think we fully understand what goes on and what is going on, and that you just articulated. We even understand why it happens like that. We know how different kinds of interests, even bad ones, operate in this global system as we live in it. So but we are also determined to make sure that our country gets what we deserve or what we can work towards and hard to achieve. I think we can get good results for ourselves overall, even in a very complex situation like that one. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. First of all, I had a specific question, but I have to respond to my colleague Theodore. We don't have to be negative all the time. The media, I have to say, is working in a very good environment. The way it was working 5 years ago is not the way it is working now. Theodore, we have banks coming up. They are investing in Rwanda. We have, the RDB is doing a great job. They are attracting a lot of people whom we can go to and get business from. We do it from, at least I can speak for my own part. We can't always go crying around expecting that we will get free things. We can't do that. All we need is a good environment, and Mr. President, I can say that we work in a good environment to be able to develop the media as an enterprise, as an enterprise that can be big as any in the neighboring countries. So we really, all we need is for that environment to go on the way it is. Anyone who wants to work, they will work, and they will develop, and they will progress. We can't go in that backward mentality of saying that we are waiting for someone to give us something. Yes, and we really thank ever since we met in 2007, I think. That was around in the Imwihero we had with the journalists and the head of state, yourself, Mr. President. A lot of things have come up, a lot of developments, positive, have come up. Of course, you can have a few problems. For example, recently when they say the month of July, the government has closed the budget. Yes, you have to wait. You will not get anything in the month of July, but that is something to plan ahead, because the government is planning how it will allocate its budget, and consequently you can go to look for business in August or wherever. So that is what I wanted to say about that. I'm sorry to divert from the original question, but maybe you can allow me to go on with my real question. Mr. President, allow me to make an observation. Sitting close to you, you look much younger than you do when, when someone is sitting a distance from you. Why am I making this observation? We have had this debate about political transitions, and it's an ongoing debate. We are all participating in it. I have people I listen to as a journalist every day. Now, there are a lot of gains that have come up. We can talk about recently Claire Kamanzi, the RDB signing with the Koreans a broadband agreement. We can talk about more investors coming in. We can talk about Rwanda Air growing more wings. But we can also talk about the politics, which are also maturing as we talk. But my main concern, or maybe the concern of the people I talk to as a journalist, is in these few days, in the few years we have to the transition, will the current dispensation have done all the work needed to consolidate all those gains? Now, I'm not someone who advocates for life presidencies, but the main concern we get is, okay, we are making a transition to what in 4 years? To what exactly? The concern is all these wonderful gains we have put up that we are enjoying right now as citizens of Rwandans who can go proudly in other countries and hold our heads high, which we used to hold down in shame. And people are saying, look, if there is even a consensus and Rwandans are saying, we want this president for even one more term at least to hold, to consolidate the gains, to hold the gains as time goes on, because a lot of energy has been expended in fighting Bruguiere, in fighting a lot of negative things, a lot of energy that would have used in positive things to be able to prepare a very useful transition. So, Mr. President, I would like, I know you have really talked a lot about this, and maybe I could be taking you back in things you've said, but it's very useful, especially in this intimate setting where we are sitting here and talking one-on-one. What are your thoughts? What if Rwandans said, look, there is a consensus that you can't break what is not broken. You can't fix what is not broken. where do we take it from you? I mean, from here, Mr. President, especially now it's like 3 years actually, not even 4 years, 3.5 years time.
Increasingly it becomes a complex kind of question or territory to operate in, but for me, I don't remember any time when I never operated in a very complex territory. I haven't been lucky, as lucky as many have been. So for me, it's always every step has to be fought for and earned, and so many scars on my body. But let me go to your point. You see, why I haven't started like that? I've been in situations, for example, imagine somebody no, let me start it differently. See, there are people who have raised these questions, many, and rightly so, because they need answers. And people have different views about that. Some are asking, what is going to happen? Asking me, come 2017, after that, what happens? And they even go ahead and say, no, President, that's enough for you, shouldn't continue. Maybe they are right. Others come and say, look, President, we've gone through all this is where we are, this is come 2017. You would not only have done a wrong thing, I think they would even think I would be foolish to just say something you've championed and you've been here, you've been central to it, you just abandon it and it sinks, and we don't know where you will be yourself, whether dead or alive, what you know, you'll be feeling about it. Those have their views as well. There is another category that even all along have said, well, we shouldn't have had this president in the first place. There are those who think I shouldn't have been there. Those have their views as well. So you can see you have about 3 categories mainly. Maybe there are others who think differently. Those, you shouldn't have been there. 2, you are there and things have been the way they are, and we think we attribute a lot to you, so you just can't walk away on us like that, out like that. 3, no, because it has been said so be it, when it comes, you must go. 3, so these are things I am facing. And to put a bit of face, real face to it, is better than just talk about me, because now the issue has become, you shouldn't have been there, you should continue, you should leave. So it becomes me now. It's no longer the context, it's no longer the substance of the issues we are talking about, that we are dealing with. And that's why with all these debates, I remember last time, I hope you are still working on it with the seriousness it deserves. It was like, for me, there are 3 things that have to happen, and that's along which people need to think about. 1, I said, I spoke to the change that needs, or many times needs to happen. The second is, if you are making good progress, you need to continue making progress. You don't want to reach a point and the progress you've made is reversed. And the third, all that needs to happen in a sense of stability. So three things. So I was steering the debate away from the individual, from the person, to the real substance, because we are talking about a country, a nation. And really what we've been doing in this country, in my view, is not just what we were talking about earlier, national budget. It's not just about growth and development. It's about, we have also been largely and actually more significantly, we've been rebuilding a society that has been shattered and torn apart. This is a different thing. It's a society, rebuilding a society and building a society, the social fabric that has been completely shattered is different, even though related to the normal development processes you are talking about. So for us, the country has been experiencing and going through these kinds of situations. So, and you see, it's very interesting the way this world full of very intelligent men and women, sometimes they just trivialize issues. Sometimes even with journalists like you and others from outside mainly, when they're asking questions, it's like, oh, President, how, the questions are asked about elections and so on and so forth. How does a person get 90-something% of that? So that's the question you put to me. But some of the things that lead to that are independent of me in a sense. For example, what I mean is, if people analyze things by putting them in their right contexts, you will find that Rwanda, the way it has evolved over time, and its history and all things that have happened, the struggles we have fought, and then I just happen to be there. My being there is not really one of those situations where people are born with imbuto in their hands. No, it's happened to be there. Like any one of you, I have no special rights, but come fate as to where, whatever role I played in my life and in this struggle, I found myself in a situation that I need to confront. I confronted it the best way I thought I could do that. Happily, some of it made sense, or most of it did result in something for people. And now, people, given their history and then the context we are dealing with, and the struggle and the leadership involved, certain things happen and they make a judgment about that. Now, when people have made a judgment about that and said, because of where we are coming from, because of what has happened, because of this, we want to see this, or we appreciate this, or we don't appreciate that, and so on and so forth. It's really so much independent of me. You see? You can, meaning you can attribute this to someone, but to blame it on someone, I think is wrong. You see what I mean? You see, to blame someone and say, but how did you manage this situation to the extent that people think like this? I didn't manage the situation like this for people to think like this. I managed the situation for it to be like it was supposed to be, and people made their own judgment. It has nothing to do with, I wasn't doing that because I wanted people to appreciate me, but I did that because I thought that's what needed to be done. And I did it with the very people, otherwise it wouldn't have happened for it to happen. Now, so, and some of these judgments or the logic applied is just sentimental, or in these other cases, it is mechanical. You know, because, and that's why really this is important, this debate which I challenged people to think about is important. Otherwise, people should stop making it mechanical. It's like 2017 has come, what should happen mechanically is this. There's nothing mechanical. You must contextualize it. Because let me try something that I know can always even be misunderstood, but anyway, I'm not going to say what will happen in 2017 right now. I have right time to say it. As far as I'm concerned, that is. But so we cross the bridge when you come to it. But let me say it this way. You know, some people will argue, and this is why I'm talking about the mechanical way of doing things and the contextual way of dealing with issues as a matter of substance. Let me say two things. One is, you see, there are even people who keep saying, you know, but you see, term limits, you know, 2 terms, you must go. When actually they don't have term limits themselves. So what are they talking about, really? I mean, I want somebody to be able to tell me the logic of somebody coming and say, you know what, you must do this. You know, this is what you must do. Now, suppose somebody says, but you don't do that. Why don't you do it? What do I tell him? That is one. The other is, somebody says, you know what? No. This is cast in stone. You must do this because that's what the Constitution says. Right? But the Constitution has a life. You obey the Constitution that is there, isn't it? But the Constitution is put there. You see what I mean? So the Constitution or the law which you say I should obey, which I should obey, has a life. So actually, how does the Constitution, for example, you tell me or you tell the other, or the law, you tell the other to respect? Well, when it is there, you respect it. Absolutely. But you respect it because it is there, isn't it? Meaning, it could be a different law that you respect. Do you get my argument? Yes, because the law you tell me to respect has a life, has a beginning. It was born on a certain date, isn't it? When it was born, by who gave it this kind of birth, I respect the constitution or the law that is there. Isn't it? So it's not even a debate. You know? But the debate is about whether it will be the same law, or whether the same people who put that law you respect there will have put there another one or won't put there another one. That's where the debate is. So the debate of asking me whether I will go 2017, and you're asking me now, the answer is yes. Because now that is the law that is there. Isn't it? Now, and I'll tell you, yes, I respect the law that will be there in 2017. Whether it is the same law or a different law. Because what I respect is the law. And I respect people who put there the law. Laws, mvua, laws, sio kama mvua. It just doesn't rain. No. Laws are put there by people. They are there for people. You see? So that is...
But even they check their constitutions have lights. Like
every day. But this relates to something else that maybe we have always talked about. This agachiro thing is really very important. The agachiro means you, means who you are, means what you want to be, means it's not about, you know, recently I was having a different conversation with the people and I was telling them, I said, you see, maybe one of the things journalists or analysts or others need, they need to develop some capacities, but maybe the capacity they have, but there's something missing in that capacity, because you can have capacity, but the way to use it rightly or correctly is a different issue. You see? Can be qualified, you know, any profession, very qualified, but what you do may reflect very bad on you. It doesn't, you can be a very good medical doctor, but the way you treat people may be wanting, isn't it? Because of something else. You can even use your knowledge to the detriment of people instead of to the benefit of people. But what I mean here is there has been out there in this world, there is one part of the world that is the right part of the world and must govern over others. Is another part of the world that must be governed by these others. And we find ourselves in this other world. But I think some of the misfortune is invited. We really invite it and accept it. And what do I mean here? What I mean is, and something that has been established and unfortunately, which some of the journalists or analysts, even African, uphold. Actually, what has been established is black is bad. Black meaning you and me. So a black leader is always a dictator. Yes, he's always authoritarian. He's always one who doesn't respect human rights. He's always one who doesn't respect democratic governance. And it is established as such. That's why they put aside the contextual issues and say, because, oh, you got 90%, the people voted you. So 90%, where have you ever seen 90%? To say that, you must have separated the context from what has happened. But at the same time, if it happened in their midst, then that is the standard. If actually you don't get that, you are not the legitimate leader. So everything is adjusted according to what happens in their place that they have decided. That's it. Now, but at the same time, if you are telling me that democracy is about interests of people, self-determination, empowerment, their choices, and then you come and say, no, if these people have made this choice, their leader is the wrong one. So then, what is it that you want to see my people doing in order to qualify their leader as a legitimate one? What is it?
They want to see riots in the streets and
where the yeah, that's, but now it is democracy as far as they are concerned, not as far as the people of this country or any other country are concerned. That's what the problem is. So it's a very wide debate, but it's everybody's. But anyway, one way or the other, the life of this country and our people must go on. You see? So these are some of the fights and struggles and everything we have to go through. So and it seems there is nothing you are going to do that is going to be seen as being right. You see, this is the whole problem. Because, in fact, let me say something else again, whatever it is worth, and I don't care what. You see, let's say come 2017, which you brought up the issue which you brought up. But come 2017, suppose actually the result is that Kagame stays, right? Of course, the one thing you can be 100% sure of, this now is a dictator, is one of those, leaders, blah, blah, blah. Now, but how is this different from what you started calling me 20 years ago? Haven't I been carrying this name all along? So, what is it? What is the difference? Because if come 2017, you're going to describe me as if it is a discovery you have made, or something you started calling me in the first mandate. To come, you remember 2003, then 2010, I have heard these names that I am going to carry anyway come 2017. Irrespective of what happens. So, what is this? What is this that matters so much? So this is what I'm saying. I've always been wading in a very complex, in very complex waters. So it's like mine is damned if you do, damned if you don't. So, but I would rather be damned if I do, because I like doing things rather than be damned if I don't. Okay. It's been a long discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm John Gahamany from the East African. I think you're raising very pertinent issues here. Mine is a follow-up to what Shaka has been asking. You're raising pertinent issues which are people-centered. Now, my observation is that at the moment we are seeing this whole transition debate being shifted and it is coming from the ordinary people. Every time you go to the countryside, we have people asking you to stand again. And people have their genuine concerns. These are people who need to take their children to school, people who need better medical services, people who need good incentives to produce food and milk, the people who feed this nation. Now, my question is, are you inclined, if this debate continues the way it is, and is coming from the people, it gains currency, are you inclined to listen to these people, or you stick by the principles that you have identified of change, stability, and continuity? I just want to know your personal take on that.
Well, first of all, I don't see any contradiction between what these people are saying and the principles I have stated. Actually, what they say falls within these three principles, right? It is something that keeps oscillating between the three. It's either continued progress they are talking about, it's about stability, and maybe, even if not so much, change. You see, but it is within these parameters of the principles that have been stated. And as I said earlier, I'm not inclined to anything yet. I'm just doing my job. These same people hired me to do for them. And also listening anyway to those others you didn't mention directly, the elite. the elite are the ones who debate so much, about who debate, intellectually they exercise their stuff, but the ordinary people precisely talk about those things. They talk about their security, their bread, their daily life of socially and, the economic transformation they are so worried about. It's more about that, and for them they have no qualms about what the intellectuals talk about, but the intellectuals are important too. We need to listen to them. They have all kinds of views and they are very important. So I'm not inclined to anything as yet. This is why I'm saying, even earlier on, that's why I thought we need not be diverted from doing the work that remains to be done up to that point that is causing heated debate. 2017, we have maybe close to 4 years. A lot can be achieved in these 4 years that can shape the debate differently. So I'm not inclined, but I'm inclined to just do my work for that I'm legitimately, until 2017, responsible for. I'm so passionate about it. I'm focused on that. Come after 2017, today I'm not mandated for that. Not that yet. Just as a Rwandan, I'm thinking about it. As the leader of this country, I'm thinking about it, what happens. But I'm not yet mandated for that. So I just want to do a good job for which I'm mandated, and then that I listen. I am a very careful listener. and I absorb a lot and all kinds of things people have to say.
On this topic, if you...
Yes, please.
Mr. President, somehow the big debate is really about what you explained about the 3 pillars. Something is an obstacle for that debate. It is inside the Constitution. It's a term limit. Somehow, like you said, a law, a constitution has a life, and it can be changed. So to have a normal debate on those 3 pillars, these things should also go out of the way so that we can have a very open debate on the reality of what it really is, without having this problem of constitution.
That's up to you in your debate. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you will, I'll take a holiday and be away for 6 months. You can debate it. I have no problem with that. I don't need to influence anybody, even what they think at all. So if you want, I'll leave you alone and I mean, but the debate is yours. But I have something to say about it also at some point, isn't it? I'm part of this, whether you want it or not, because I'm one of you. I have my say too, isn't it? Yeah.
Murakoze nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika.
Go ahead.
Nitwa Emma Claudine Ntirenganya, ndi umunyamakuru wa Radio Salusi. Njye nashakaga kugaruka kuri budget iherutse gushyirwa ahagaragara. Nkaba mfiteho utubazo tugera kuri 3. Icya mbere nuko batweretse ko kugira ngo iriya budget ibashe kuboneka hari ibizakorwa mu Rwanda, harimo nko kuzamura imisoro ku bicuruzwa by'ubwubatsi kuri 25%, kandi byinjizwaga mu gihugu nta misoro itanzwe. Nkibaza ntese 25% bivuye ku kwinjizwa mu gihugu ku buntu ntibyaba ari birebire cyane, ahubwo wenda iyo misoro ntishobora gushakirwa mu bintu bitandukanye, hakagira n'ibindi byongera ariko hatiyongereye ku bicuruzwa by'ubwubatsi gusa. Hanyuma ikindi kuri iyi budget nibaza mu gukomeza kubaka ubushobozi bw'Abanyarwanda, hashyizweho imbaraga mu gukomeza gushyiraho amashuri ajyanye n'ibintu bya siyanse, y'imyuga ya siyanse. Noneho hirya no hino mu gihugu gasanga hari amashuri ya computer, mu mashuri yisumbuye bigisha computer, ariko wajya mu byaro cyane ugasanga nubwo bwose iyo section ya computer ihari, ariko ugasanga nta computer bafite, nizo bafite wenda ni nk'imwe cyangwa ebyiri zidakora neza, ugasanga nta internet connection. Nkibaza ntese hari icyo ayo mashuri cyane cyane afite section ya computer mu nshingano zayo yagenewe yatekerejweho. Noneho nkarangiriza ku kandi kabazo kamwe kajyanye
ibibazo 3 byose. Hari abandi bantu bategereje hano
nako kari gafatiye kuri iyo budget. Nibaza ni turavuga kubaka ubushobozi bw'Abanyarwanda, ariko kuboneza urubyaro bigasa naho bitakivugwa cyane, kandi
nuko rwabonejwe.
Ubwo nicyo nashaka kwibaza, ese twavuga yuko mu Rwanda tumaze kugera ku rwego dushaka, cyane cyane ko uko ubushobozi bwongerwa mu kuboneza urubyaro ariko ingufu zigabanyuka.
Ibibazo byawe, icya mbere cya budget icyo naheraho, iyo misoro 25% cyangwa icyo ari cyo cyose wari ukwiye kuba ubibonamo ikindi. Ariko budget ibisobanutse no mu binyamakuru biba byanditsemo, mwagiye musoma, abanyamakuru cyane mujye musoma, cyangwa ntimusoma ibinyamakuru bitari ibyanyu kandi ugasanga niyo nzitizi naho biri mu budget irasobanutse. Ariko reka noneho mwere mu by'ukuri bishobora kuba ari ubisome neza, bishobora kuba ari kugira ngo inganda twashyizeho zikora ibintu bimwe hano zishobore kugurisha ibyo bintu urumva niba 25% ni ibituruka hanze ni kuvuze waruvuze ngo ubundi byinjiraga ubusa none se niba umuntu ashyize uruganda hano rwa sima kandi bishoboka ko iyo sima ushobora kuyibona ku giciro cyo hasi cyangwa se ikinyuranye ari gitoya cyane nituruka hanze ndetse ahubwo wongeremo transport y'ibituruka hanze ushobora gusanga iya hano yahendutse ariko abantu bagakomeza bakaza niyo hanze wumva nta kuntu washyiramo iyo balance kugira ngo izi industries nazo zikiruka zamuka ni nk'igitekerezo ndashaka kuguha inzira yo gutekererezaho kubona ko bishoboka ntabwo umusoro nk'ubu wagiriyeho kubuza abantu kubaka warebye bije ijyaho yizwe neza buri kintu cyose abantu bakirebye nguhaye urwo rugero rero nicyo gisubizo nashobora kuguha icya kabiri cyari amashuri ariko se hari ahantu bashyize amashuri ya computer hatari amashanyarazi yes ariko nabwo kubireba utyo gusa bigashaka kureba ibintu nka 2 cyangwa 3 ni ukuvuga ngo abantu bavuye hehe bageze ku bintu bibiri ku gutanga amashanyarazi no kugutanga izo computers byose rero biragenda bizamuka kuba hari aho bitaragera nta nubwo wakwirwa ngo murabikorera iki gukora ikintu iyi progress nicyo turiho dukora aho bitaragera ubu bizahagera ejo cyangwa bizahagera umwaka utaha so ndibwira rero ko nta nukubirebera kuri umuvuduko bigenderaho gusa naho ndibwira ko hari byinshi hanyuma n'aya mashuri arakenewe kandi kuri hamwe hariho n'ibindi bagomba kuba byiga birenze bya computer y'indi myuga ariko byose ni work in progress ni ibintu bigenda bitera imbere ibindi byo kuringaniza urubyaro rero byo uburyo bwa mbere bwiza ni inyigisho kurusha ko tegeka bishyiraho itegeko ngo ntimukagere mutya ubwabyo ntabwo cyangwa ukajya wirirwa ufunga ababyaye bashyira muri 1930 ntabwo ari cyo cya ariko buri education kuko byose biba bifite impamvu bikomokaho bituma uvuga uti nimugabanye ubudukodore ubushobozi bw'igihugu ubukungu uko bugenda ubushobozi bw'abaturage kubyara abana 8 ni ikibazo bizagutera ikibazo ntuzabishobora gabanya ukwiye kugira abana 3 4 byakoroha byatuma ubufatanye bw'inzego za leta n'abaturage icyo kibazo gikemuka buriya iyo abantu babyumva niyo solution ya mbere birasa rero niba maze kugenda bifata umurongo ndibwira ko abantu bagenda babyumva kurusha
Mr. President nitwa Leon Zabandora nkorera Kigali Today tunashaka kubaza tubiri nihuta cyane akambere ni mu minsi ishize umujenerali wacu w'u Rwanda yagiriwe icyizere cyo kuzayobora ingabo za UN mu gihugu cya Mali havuzwe byinshi u Rwanda ruzikrobinga bavuga ibintu byinshi Chad ira complaininga yumva igomba kubona umwanya ariko ndicyo sinshaka kuvugaho ubu ngubu mu byahereho bavuga yuko bamuhisemo no kubera performance bazi ingabo zacu z'u Rwanda mu bihugu byinshi zigenda zibamo kandi nawe bakaba bazi ko aho yigeze kuba agakora neza ariko muri Mali nubwo azaba ari uziyoboye ariko kugeza uyu munsi u Rwanda nta ngabo rufiteyo kandi baza yuko aho yari ari no mu bituma performinga neza ya performinze neza nuko mu ngabo yayoboraga n'ubundi harimo iz'u Rwanda mwumva bidashobora kuba ikibazo wenda agiye kuyobora ingabo zindi
birashoboka ko tuzohereza ingabo ko hari ko basabye ko twakohereza ingabo so turacyareba ibishoboka kubera ko dufite ingabo ahantu henshi turareba niba bizashoboka kuzishyira no muri icyo gihugu kandi icyifuzo cy'uko twazishyirayo cyaraganiriwe.
Murakoze Mr. President. Aka kabiri nabazaga ni ngarutse ku bintu bijyanye na regional integration. Iyo turebye muri aya mezi ya nyuma ibibazo Afurika ihura nabyo tuvuze niyo Mali twavugaga n'uburyo akarere kabyitwayemo mu bibazo byayo by'icyo gihugu cya Mali nuko it's a total failure baratsinzwe iyo birebye amahanga niyo bigiyemo nkamanuka nkajya muri Sadaka nubwo mbona yivanga cyane mu by'akarere kacu ariko nayo ifite ikibazo cya Madagascar cyarananiranye nkareba Central Afrique naho ibyabaye umuryango wo muri ako karere k'ibihugu bya Afurika hagati bananiye kubikemura wenda aka karere kacu k'ibihugu by'Iburasirazuba bya Afurika somehow hari za states ziri stable ariko ntibivuga yuko ibibazo bidashobora kuza conflicts birashoboka cyane cyane ko tubona wenda hari n'abakomeye batangiye gusa nk'abagaragaza gushyigikira za rebellion ndibaza twebwe muri aka karere kacu hari mechanism dufite ku buryo tugize ibibazo nk'ibi bya za rebellion ziri hirya no hino twe dushobora kumenya kubifesinga tugatsinda kurusha uko ahandi bo bibananira. Murakoze nyakubahwa President.
Nibwira ko uko East African Community meze irasa naho igenda yubaka ubushobozi ku buryo tubukoresheje mu bufatanye ibibazo nk'ibyo twahangana nabyo ndibwira ko ibyo byakoroha no kureba nk'ibyo bagerageje gukora ureba igihugu cy'Ubugande cya Burundi cya Kenya ukuntu bafashije mu bibazo bya Somalia ubwabyo birakwereka ko hari amahirwe yo kugira ngo abantu bashobore gukemura ibibazo nk'ibyo.
The Chinese equation in Africa, it's been raising a lot of questions. And even recently in Ethiopia, the US Secretary of State Kerry said there's no excuse why America is not investing as much.
There's what?
There's no excuse for America not investing as much as China is doing, promising to invest more.
Sure.
So are we seeing a new scramble for Africa? Because, before, and then you have this thing of...
there has been the scramble for Africa
from another one.
Is as old as Africa. First of all, I think this renewed interest in Africa by East or West is very, very important for Africa. But Africa must be ready to leverage its different capacities and potentials. Must be ready. Because all these people with interest in Africa are not angels, they are not saints. They are really coming for what interests them. But that they have that interest should develop interest for Africans as well. What are Africans ready to get from this interaction, from this business, as far as their interests are concerned? Sometimes I find it difficult to understand even what some Africans have identified as their interests. And really, this goes back to our own debate, the old debate. Africa cannot clearly identify or, for that matter, get the interest from this interaction when they are being governed from outside. When the lots of us intellectuals and others are just there dancing to the tune of the outsiders who at the same time come to us to, get from us what serves their interests. So when do Africans really sit and articulate what their interests are and insist on achieving, and you see, this is the whole thing in business, in investments, in different kinds of interactions. You can have, a win-win situation. But for all these decades and centuries, if you will, it's been lopsided. People, whether east or west, they just come to Africa, they take hundreds of times more than they give back. And Africans have really accepted this to happen. Yes. And there are many subtle ways of keeping the situation like that. You are talking about Mali a while ago, Central Africa, different places, Madagascar. If you see this political turmoil that is there, there is a big hand of outsiders. So they keep you dancing around like that, and you really keep dancing to their tune, and you keep going around in circles. Yes, in Mali, they praise you, you say, oh, you're a Democrat, Yeah. And before you realize you have nothing. What is in Mali now? Tell me. But it was, these same people are really, there are other places, you just wait, you will see, that are being praised. I see people, highlighted, talking about, but they have nothing as we know it. I don't have to name names, but some countries, you find leaders there or institutions are not there, or they don't have responsibility over anything. They are being governed from outside, but they are always praising them for nothing. Yet they have resources in these countries that can afford them anything they want to rebuild their country, to build their countries and modernize them as much as any of these other countries from east or west. But they keep you debating and quarreling and throwing stones, and they just enjoy watching that. You see? For example, they want us to keep debating come 2017, keep dancing around. Maybe they want to have some poodle in place. I think they are tired of Kagame, who keeps making noise, sometimes poking his finger in their eyes. They want somebody who fits the bill. That's what happens. But unfortunately, some of the good people, intelligent people, don't see that. They miss the point. So, East-West renewed interest in Africa, it's just renewed. It has been there. You see? And in fact, I don't want anything else to change beyond, what has changed between the East and West. I want more Africa to change. It's the missing link. Yes. The factor in the equation that is missing is Africa itself. What are the Africans really doing for themselves about this issue? That is always missing. Yes, where else was...
I really feel so bad if I go without asking this. I'll be very brief. At the African Union Summit, African leader after another bashed the ICC, but my question is, were the leaders genuine when they called the ICC, you know, a dictator or targeting African countries?
I was genuine. I was one of those, and I made it, and I gave facts.
At least,
if there are others who said it for their own problem, that's another issue. The ICC problem is a serious problem for Africa and for the Africans. And now, talking about ICC in the right we did at the AU does not mean that wrong things don't happen in Africa. No. But we are saying by this that wrong things happen in Africa as much as they happen elsewhere. Right? And we cannot have a court that targets Africans. That's number one. Number two, if it is an international court, it should handle everybody, right? Without fear, without favor. Number two, what has also been identified is that this ICC has been politicized. It is being used by the powers that be to manage political situations in Africa.
but Mr. President, most of them, including Kenya specifically, Kenyans said, don't be vague, go to Hague. We invited the ICC to take up the cases. So
yeah,
how...
but Kenya, you are assuming that there is unanimity in Kenya. There isn't. So when you tell me that, you are not telling me that's what every Kenyan is saying. No. There are divided opinions. There are those who think yes, who say that. There are others who say no. But let me say it from outside as an African. I actually maybe on this blame the Kenyans. Why can't Kenyans look at each other in the eye and sort out their own problems? Why do they really need ICC to sort out their problems? And this is going to be a problem. ICC or any other institution from outside cannot resolve people's problems. They cannot resolve Kenyan problems. They cannot resolve Rwanda's problems. If Rwandans or Kenyans are missing in being the ones to actually take the lead in resolving their problems. And I'm saying this, you see, not more from the experience of Kenya, but more from our own experience, which may have similarities with the Kenyan situation, as we are all Africans, brothers and sisters. This is where the problem lies. The moment you just put yourself there for outsiders to come and solve your problems, you are in a danger, a serious danger. You know what? So they will come and play one side against the other in Kenya or in Rwanda or in Uganda or in any other country in Africa. The moment they come in, this is what we've been talking all day, they come with their interests. They have in mind the leader they want in Kenya or they don't want to have in Kenya. They may come here and there is a leader they want here or they don't want here in Rwanda. So the moment you give them an opening like this, they blow it up, it becomes this. You see what I mean? This is the reality of the matter. So for us, our argument really is not so much about who in Kenya or versus who. No. My argument, and even in reference to the case of Kenya relating to ICC, is about saying, give Kenyans their responsibility over their issues. Let them be the ones to sort them out. You see what I mean? Yes, I cannot imagine, and I cannot, at least inside me personally, accept that Kenya is a great nation. They are great people. For everything. You cannot have Kofi Annan, you cannot have so and so coming to you know, to beat people and hard them in line to sort them out. How? This is how bad it goes. Yes. You see, that's really the issue. Yes.
Thank you.
ICC cannot resolve. We should be the ones to resolve our problems.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
No, but there's something I wanted to, so which you didn't talk about. Let me bring it up. Because you brought about issues of 2017 and debates and so on and so forth. But you didn't say one thing which I have read in the papers and heard in the media about the recent reshuffle which I carried out, and which people said, no, this is, well, first of all, I don't know, did you read about that, or did it originate from you? I want us to talk about it.
Someone in the Guardian wrote a story, I think.
Yes, and then something in the East African or something I saw.
Some people reached their own conclusion.
But I've heard this. Now, why? Why do you think this was an issue? Why does anybody think it is an issue? Because I want to talk about it.
Have you changed the reshuffling ministers?
Yes.
I mean, aren't you in charge? How would that become now?
Yeah, but this is what surprises me about, you know. No, but by the way, let me also, about, the way you put it is the way it is or it should be, fine. But let me even, I always want even to speak about it from the worst case scenario thing. Let's assume that even it has a relationship to that. Because they said Kagame and Musoni were, well, first of all, they call it sacked sometimes, yes, sacked. It's not even a reshuffle. Because of this. Now, but for that to be the case, you really need to be saying something. Okay, then I understand for Kagame, they say it's something that appeared in the Guardian, right? Where I think he mentioned something. But even then, actually, wouldn't it be right to sack a minister who goes to the media the way it is said in the Guardian? Because the debate about this debate we have been having is about this country. Why would you go to whisper it? You are a minister, you have views, but the views anyway have said, let's express them, let's talk about them. Why would you hide your opinion and go to say it like that? What behavior is this after all? This is my question. For Musoni, I don't know. I don't know what he said to who. For him, I even don't know. Right? So, but I'm just talking about for Kagame, which was quoted, you know, that he said something in the media, and then. So, what is this about? But let me tell you, sometimes I don't even have to say these things. Let's say for Kagame. In fact, let me tell you, break the secret. For Kagame, even in 2010 or 2011, he himself knows, because the issues I raised with him, that as a Minister of Justice, to whom the country looks for justice, there are certain things he had got involved in. In fact, these things, I talked about them in cabinet, addressing him, saying they are unacceptable for somebody who is in charge of justice. Because he had been involved in certain things that reflected badly on somebody, a custodian, somebody in this sector. right? And for him, he must have known that even keeping him there was just a matter of tolerating him for, different reasons, including giving him an opportunity to improve. There are things you see outside on the surface of it, but there are other things you don't know or you don't see that I know, but that are not what one is expected in systems like ours that uphold accountability. So, for him, if some people want to plead for him or argue for him differently, no, he knows. He knows that I talked about this. And for Musoni also, I can tell you reasons. But let me reserve it for another day. But there's nothing that happens for no reason. Yes. But I have told you, so the evidence is that I raised it in the cabinet, so cabinet matters, not all of them need to be for the paper. I'm just giving you that bit, that some of these things. In fact, if you quietly probably ask him, he'll tell you. Yes. So I'm only dismissing this fact that this simply happened for the very reasons the media talk about. But if it is only one of, you see what I mean? It is not the reason. This is what I'm trying to say. Even in the worst case scenario, if this was the reason, the one that has been talked about in the media, it cannot be the reason. It can only be one of the many reasons. That's the only point I wanted to make. And actually the main reason is he knows. Yes, but I am even saying, actually, for even a cabinet minister to behave like this, the way people say is the reason, it is actually correct that it should be the reason. This is again the point I wanted to make.
There's something I'd like to raise with the minister. Some youth are being barabajyana kumande. Ejo muri hari ikibazo cy'abanyeshuri bahungiye Bugande ejo bundi. Icyo kibazo cyagiye muri za BBC cyabiki wabaza mu bantu bashinzwe no mu Rwanda bakabikwepa. Ikibazo kagikwepa. Umuntu waje kuvuga ni ambassador Mugambagi. Ni bavuye bu openly
ariko hano byarasobanura hano mu gihugu.
Bwa mbere rero ikize kubwira byasobanuriye ashigiye kinini cyane. Ugasanga Rwanda Education Board ngiye kubaza nk'umunyamakuru wabazaga ngo reka tuzasohora itangazo ugasanga ari cya kintu gutinda itinda ku ibihuha birakomeza bikaba binini no kubikontrolinga bikanga.
Yes, ariko namwe aho mubimenye nk'aba journalist ku kimwe mutabisobanura namwe ariko kazi kanyu ariko byarasobanutse. Je ndibuka one time mbibona no ku Twitter somebody complained and I saw many tweets Minister of Education yasohoye ibisobanura. Okay, that's one thing. Ariko nziko byanasobanutse no hanze. Ariko rero, how does this issue that is outright criminality really result into this? Yes, this is the whole thing. Ubu abantu bazajya biba kwiba, literally stealing. Hanyuma bihinduke an issue politicized. There is an issue of criminality here. It's as simple and as straight as that. Okay, I was hearing the latest I learned about that. I was told is the UNHCR has got involved to an extent, right? It's about people who committed a crime, offense here. Now, if the issue is about now a refugee situation, uwabibashyizemo ariko we kuki ari wabibashyizemo, the one who actually drove them into this is a criminal who is somewhere safe. When ntanubwo bamushyira mu kuba refugee, abo ya driving into crime niba bari aho. Yes, but the other criminal who got involved with this, he is getting away with it. He's in the same country where these students ran to. I haven't heard about this case of this man. So why is Rwanda, ubu abantu bagiye kujya biba hano niko byabaye established, n'abicanyi n'abantu bazajya bica abantu nibarangiza bajya hariya bati no. Yes. Then agire n'ababavugira ngo kwica se umunyarwanda hari icyo bitwaye. It's okay. So you become a refugee. So what is this? Ariko somebody tell me the actual criminal who drove these students into it.
Nibyo Theodore yavugaga, abantu b'amashyaka bashaka gukoresha urubyiruko muri ibyo bintu nk'ibyo. So there should be some other people that are behind it.
I guess so. Because how else does an outright offense like this turn into a refugee, a political issue? It's a clear-cut thing. Whether the Minister of Education explained it well or not, that's another thing. Maybe we are weak at communicating things the way they should be, but we can improve on that. But those dealing with it like that are not dealing with it like that because they have no information. You see, that's the whole problem. Yes.
Akoze mwigeze kuvuga iby'umupira nyakubahwa Perezida wa Repubulika kuki mutakiza gushyigikira Amavubi. Nkubeje Amavubi azakina nagira ngo rwose muzaze dushyigikira Amavubi kuko no gutsindwa kuriya bajya bavuga yuko iyo muhari hari igihe batera akanyabugabo bakaba bashyiramo akabaraga.
Mfite ikibazo ku bakinnyi no kugeza ku babayobora. Mentality iracyarimo iraho iri primitive. Ntabwo nzabaha na advice abanyarwanda umupira bazawuveho bajye bareba uw'abandi bakina gusa bo byarabananiye. I think
bapfa abanyarwanda
ndabibona nkabona the spirit buriya isi ikintu cyose, the spirit behind it, the attitude, the winning spirit, the wanting, ndabibona nkabibura. Gukina umukino cyangwa ikintu cyose kugira ngo utsinde ntabwo ari ukujyamo gusuka, ariko ndabibona behaviors z'ababayobora, behaviors z'abakinnyi. Kandi ikibazo ni attitude. Iyo ukora ikintu utakizi neza kandi udafite umurava wo gushaka kukiga no kugikorera ukabikora usa nkaho wumva wowe ubizi, haba hari ikibazo. Umuntu wese burya muzima ushaka kugera ku kintu yumva ko hari ibyo ashobora kwiga akanabikorera akabishyiramo imbaraga. Ariko iyo umunyeshuri wumva uzi ibintu utari umunyeshuri ushaka kwiga ntacyo umenya. So ibyo byabaye igihe kirekire, naravuze narafashije ariko ukabona so ntabwo rwose nabihisha, I got fed up.
Ariko na Arsenal mukunda nayo iratsindwa ntabwo udatsindwa.
Ariko ngira ngo navuze impamvu nayo niba ukurikira nayo nayibwiye uko nyitekereza. Impamvu nayo nyine irahari narayibabwiye. Ntabwo ari cyo kibazo nyine. Ariko you see overall ureba nk'iya Arsenal muvuga urayizi ko yari yatsindaga nyine, yari ifite amateka. Ariko iyo bigenda iyo uharanira kuba uwa mbere kuba wa mbere ababonye trophy baba babaye abambere sibyo ariko bitangiye kuvuga ngo nzajya mba uwa mbere umwe muri bane akaba ari y'ibintego ejo ukongera uti nibura nzabe uwa mbere mu 10 aha uba wagiye buriya ugumana ya ntego yo kuba uwa mbere niyo utamuba rero kuko birashoboka kandi uko bimeze ni nayo point wari uvuze uvuga ngo gutsindwa si cyo kibazo ariko hari gutsindwa wagaragaweho mentality certain mentality yes no gutsindwa wagaragaye ko you gave everything you fought you cyangwa se that build up wavugaga bigaragara ngo you are actually building up in a certain manner igamije kuzatsinda all those are key elements niyo wabo utabo wa mbere nakwemera nkavuga ngo you see this one is kuko ndakurebamo iyo process yaho ushaka kugera ariko ibindi iyo biraho ubona ukabona anything cyambere ageze mu kibuga ikintu cyambere abanje gukora ashingujemo ishati muri kabutura bimwe bidatebeza bikagera ukabona nicyo cyamuhimbaje kandi kumva ko ngo iyo bigize utyo ugaragara nk'star there is a problem naho ibintu birimo discipline ibintu birimo niyo utatsindege navuga ngo this one wanted yabikoreye yabishakaga wundi kumwe nawe niyo utatsinda am with you ariko iraho ubwo ngeraho ubwo field yanjye kabibaye yindi iyo y'abastari kananira nkayivaho ntigera mu bindi bisanzwe the real life ya politiki okay ubwo wenda nanjye umupira ndawukunda ubwo nshobora kuzaza nkabareba ariko
kabisa ejo tuzakina na Algeria excellence muzaze tuzakina na Algeria kabisa muje byadufasha hari icyo byakunye niyo nama mukayitanga ko irakenewe kandi nzi ko babumva
nta kibazo
bagize neza asante sana fanda
naho ariko ikibazo kirenze icyo okay murakoze rero katujye